start recording. We're
Okay.
recording. We're live.
We're live. All right, so we did the power of the media. I'm Kat.
I'm Haley.
I'm Nicole.
So to start off, we're gonna talk about sensationalism in the media and how that plays a role.
You know the story about the boy who cried wolf? Well, here's a TV station that cried code red. Joe Crane is a popular meteorologist. He was at WICS in Illinois. It's a station owned by Sinclair. He was fired a few days ago after taking issue with the station's code red policy. They were told they had to call out these code red weather alert days when there was possibly severe weather anywhere nearby. So he called this out on the air. He expressed his regret over what he called a corporate initiative. Here's a part of what he said.
When you hear code red, you think as they say, the feces is about to hit the fan. Behind the scenes, many of us have tried to dissuade it for the last few months.
He was never on the air after that viral video happened. Now he's been sacked, and it's been a code red for the station because the community's upset. Let me bring in David Zerwick now from the Baltimore Sun. We've talked about Sinclair in the past, but I think this story is not unique to Sinclair. This is about sensationalism and scare tactics in television news, and those are far too common, David.
No, you're absolutely right about that. And weather is one of the key parts where that happens. You know, I'm in Baltimore. If you say there's going to be snow, 3 inches, people freak out and they go and buy toilet paper and clean out the grocery stores. I'm from Wisconsin. It's got to be 30 feet, I think, before. But it always struck me that, and this is in fairness to Sinclair, everybody does it, Brian, in TV news because it's so easy to do. But here's the larger thing that I think is really dangerous about it, and nobody does it to this extent where your meteorologist goes before the camera and feels he has to call you out on it, and you use something egregious as code red. If journalism, as we've talked many times, is supposed to give citizens information they can use to make good decisions about their lives, in TV news, weather is one of the most important of those realms, because if you see you're in Florida and there's a hurricane coming, or you're in Tornado Alley, or you're in the upper Midwest and there's a storm, it's life and death information. You have to have it. So when stations aired a little bit, I always said, well, better to err on the side of saying it's going to be worse than it's going to be. But this is different. When you do it to this extent, you completely, it's as you said in your setup, it's crying wolf, and when the real wolf comes, nobody pays attention and people can get killed. This is really dangerous. Yeah.
I've got a viewer named Margot tweets at me and says, all right, talking about sensationalism, what about the breaking news banners on CNN and other cable news channels? And I think she's absolutely right. National cable news networks overuse.
Sorry, just give me 1 second to get back to. Okay, so okay, so with that video starting off with talking about sensationalism, it's obviously something we're seeing a lot right now with COVID, the coronavirus going on. We are seeing empty shelves at grocery stores. We're seeing, a sheer panic across the country and other countries because this is new and the media is being flooded with coronavirus and what's going on about it when we really don't know a whole lot about it yet. We're only just starting to learn what it actually is and the effects of it. So the ethical issues we chose were reporting false information in order to scare people and send them into a panic. For example, there's been shortages on food from what the media has talked about. In actuality, farmers and stuff like farmers are having a hard time getting rid of the food actually, because they're not doing as much business right now with restaurants. So the supply is there, the demand is there, But in order to sell products faster, stores are limiting the number of like meat they can buy, consumers can buy. So that's really something that's like bothered me with the media, is because it's reporting all of these, it's false information. And the moral claimants, everybody here, like everybody's being affected by the coronavirus. It's not just the U.S. It's nations, like all, like everywhere. And then with the ethical theories, we just chose the duty-based theory, because journalists are reporting on this information. They get it, so they believe that it's correct, so they share it with everybody. And then the prima facie duties is beneficence, and fidelity. And then this is a quick little video about
SARS
China.
was 2003, another coronavirus that broke out in China. They covered it up at first, and it spread around the world. They ended up doing the exact same thing with this Wuhan coronavirus. And there were actually 8 doctors at the outset who said, hey, something's going on here. People are getting this odd new pneumonia. And they were told to shut up, right? You know, and posted something online, one of them. Yeah, and they're all chastised. You know, so one of them has actually come down with the virus now, but now they've obviously had to be more open as the virus has spread. But even if you look at how they're responding, they still are trying to limit the social media conversation. They're trying to downplay the scope of it. And they are also responding with this ruthlessness that ignores the individual. So they've locked down 60 million people in Hubei province, the province of which Wuhan is part. And they are essentially locking people in their homes with minimal food. One person a day is allowed to go out. But the horrible thing is that if you come down with a fever and you suspect that you have the coronavirus, you've got to beg for an appointment to get tested. And they're so overloaded that you can't get tested. And until you're tested, you can't get treated. So they're kind of forcing people to just stay at home and sometimes die. Wow. And which is partly why the numbers I think are undercounted so far. But it also shows this kind of indifference to the individual, which is telling. And that's just the way China is. And so the same government that has been investing big time in very visible job-producing projects, the bullet trains, the highways, the high-rises. At the same time, they're underinvesting in public health. And so you see these horrible scenes coming out of a handful of hospitals in Wuhan, and they're utterly overwhelmed. People are begging, they're sitting in lines, waiting, hoping to be treated, probably infecting each other in the process. Totally.
So that video we chose to include because it's very different how the virus was first in China versus here in the US. In China, like they obviously, like the video said, tried covering up and not talking about it on social media as much, or limiting what the media can say about it. Where here in the US, there's like, if you refresh your internet search, like there's new article about the virus like every hour. Like there's so much going on about it. And with all this information, it can be kind of confusing for people. And like I'm in Michigan right now, and our governor's facing a huge backlash from the citizens here in Michigan. She's gotten backlash from Trump because of what she's been doing for the people here in Michigan. And with all of this media, it's kind of confusing as to what to believe, the facts versus the fiction. We just had a protest yesterday in Lansing, I believe it was. And it's ridiculous because people, they don't know what to believe because there's so much information about it that they're starting to make up their own opinions on this. Yeah. Do you guys have anything to say about it?
I agree with you about how like it's crazy how like different the spectrums are. Like there's China where like they won't talk about anything, and then there's here where everything is sensationalized. Like there's almost too much information. But like no wonder like everyone is also so scared because there are these horror stories coming from China because people are left home to basically die. Like it's pretty crazy.
Yeah, I agree with you guys. It's just like, it's weird how it can go from one extreme to the next, like from one country to the next in like a matter of seconds. It's just really crazy. Because, like, when they first came out about it, like, I remember even in our class, in our for an ethics in the news presentation, a group was like, oh, it's not that bad. Like, people are freaking out. Like, more people have the flu. And then all of a sudden it was like 0 to 100. So it's kind of crazy how it can go like that from country to country. So Kobe Bryant, like, his passing is an example of how the power of the media can turn bad pretty quickly instead of doing good for the society. So obviously he passed away in January due to a helicopter accident. And what was unethical about this situation is that TMZ was the first to come out with this report before notifying his family about his death, and they also falsely were reporting it. I remember sitting on my couch and I got like a notification on my phone, and it was like Kobe Bryant and all of his daughters died in a helicopter crash, and I was like, what? And then obviously after doing more research, and once the final report came down, it was just him and his daughter. So that was pretty crazy how not only did they let out this report that he was dead before notifying his family, but they also falsely reported the amount of people who were affected by the accident. So the moral claimants involved in this situation are his family, his teammates, his coworkers, his representatives, and his fans, because they are all connected to Kobe Bryant in some way. Obviously, his family, his wife didn't even know that he passed away with his daughter, his teammates, his PR people, his fans. Like, my boyfriend is a huge fan of Kobe Bryant. He was like heartbroken. So all these people are moral claimants in this situation. And then the ethical theories that are involved in this situation are subjectivism and egoism. It was mainly wrong of TMZ to release this information, and it's based on mainly how we feel as a society about it. But on the other hand, TMZ was demonstrating egoism and how they wanted to be the first media outlet to release this information rather than thinking about the moral claimants involved. I think our overall take on this issue was that it was ethically wrong. His family should have been the first to be notified, and the fact that TMZ cared more about being the first news outlet to release it just shows that their company as a whole doesn't practice any sort of care ethics. And then an example of how the power of the media can do good for people is Justin Bieber's rise to fame. He talks in all of his like interviews and stuff like that how he would literally be nowhere without the media. He obviously started on YouTube and would post his singing videos there, and then would go to Twitter and tell people where to meet up with him and stuff like that. And then just like going on media outlets such as, like your local news station, he'd be in town and they'd be like, oh, this little kid is over here singing, whatnot. And then people like Scooter Braun, Justin Timberlake, Usher, they started to notice him on these media outlets, and they were like, oh my gosh, like, I want to sponsor this kid. So some moral claimants in his situation are his family, Scooter Braun, his fans, and people who work in the media. And one ethical theory that can apply to his situation is relativism, because he could do something that was right in his mind, but not in the eyes of the media or the culture around him, with becoming, this pop star just from using the media as a way to do that. And then some prima facie duties that relate to Justin and the media are gratitude, beneficence, and self-improvement. Gratitude, because kind of like I was talking about before, in multiple interviews, he tells the media how thankful he is for what they've done and for helping him in his rise to success. And beneficence, because he has that ability to help other people now, which he didn't have before because he came from like nothing. So he donates to a lot of different charities and tries to help people as much as he can. Like, even I remember like Carly Rae Jepsen, like he helped her with her one-hit wonder, Call Me Maybe, but he was still able to do that just because of his rise to fame. And then lastly, self-improvement, because he came from nothing and then turned himself into literally the biggest pop star of our growing up in our generation, and that was just by the use of social media and then media outlets finding him from there. So overall, I think that it's an interesting way of the media to use their power to help someone, but this was definitely more of a positive way of looking at the power of the media versus Kobe Bryant, because he wouldn't be anywhere without the media, and it helped him get to where he is now.
Agree.
So now we're going to move on to this article about TMZ's false reports, just because it is relevant to what we've been talking about. Obviously, TMZ is not the only outlet that has made mistakes. If you are pay attention to a lot of news, I'm sure that some of your favorite news channels, news outlets come to mind. But for example, they reported that Miley Cyrus died in a car accident. They mistaked Greg Oden for LeBron James. They posted like a false picture of JFK. What was one more? Something about Whitney, tricked into posting false photo of Whitney Houston's body. So the problem with the media is that they revolve around making money, which we've learned from media writing classes and from this class also. So when a known name like TMZ reports, maybe most readers wouldn't question it because it's a popular name. People may think of it as more reputable because, oh, TMZ, everyone knows TMZ. But by looking at all the times that TMZ has made false claims and due to their recent mess up with Kobe Bryant's story, we should wonder whether or not all of these stories are true and if they're accurate. So it's our job. We should be fact checking because we're giving these media outlets all of this power. So should this specific outlet have the power that they do? TMZ has exploited a lot of people, and not only the readers are affected, but the celebrities themselves are being affected majorly, and their privacy is being invaded, which is going to lead us into our next slide. So in the next slide, we're going to watch a video that basically talks about whether or not celebrities lose their right to privacy, even though we believe Kobe Bryant, his family should have been informed first, this, that, and the other thing, because ethically we think that's what's right. Like, being a celebrity and being this influential person for everyone, does that take away some of your privacy rights? And we're going to watch this video and you guys can decide for yourself.
At the time now, 6:35, Atlanta rapper Offset is once again in trouble with the law. A warrant issued for his arrest after he allegedly smacked a phone out of a teen's hand. Liza Lucas at the bridge with a look at the video, and this is a pretty big conversation happening online right now, Liza.
Yes, our Morning Rush insiders have been very active on this one, and it's really sparked an interesting conversation about the expectation for celebrities in public. Do they still have a little bit of right to privacy and that idea of not recording them while they're out doing regular things? So in this video from TMZ, the Migos member is shown slapping a cell phone out of a fan's hand at a Sandy Springs Target store. The fan's name is Richard Gibbons. He says he was recording the star as he checked out, and that's when Offset smacked the phone out of his hand, breaking the phone. Now, according to the police report, the phone was worth $800, and we've seen other celebs talk about this before. Halle Berry, Wendy Williams, and others talking about when they're out in public doing regular things, they feel that invasion of privacy. But then again, they are celebs. So again, we're talking about it on our insider page. Patty saying, of course, they have a right to some privacy, but Offset's manner of handling that was wrong on every level. Angelo talking about they don't have a right to destroy someone's property. Offset could have asked the fan to delete the video, period. And then another comment coming from Marjorie. I think people who are in the spotlight do have a right when they're out in public. Perhaps if the young man had just asked, he would have let him know he wasn't okay with it. But some say, yes, they do, but be polite or you got to wear a paper bag because they are indeed celebrities. Agree or not, guys?
Such a tough one. I think out of all of this, the one thing I wholeheartedly disagree on is the felony arrest warrant. A felony for smacking a phone. That's a felony. I hope that they're able to settle this outside of court, that he just pays the man something for his phone, because that's nothing for Offset. That's nothing for him.
$100, yeah.
I mean, it's absurd that it's a felony. However, let's talk about the fact that he got physical. Unnecessary to get physical. Should not have smacked. Should have immediately yelled at the fan. Here, you got to think about this, folks. I mean, these people are just like you and I. Say he is dealing with the loss of a family member. Say he just imagine yourself at the lowest point in your life, and all of a sudden someone's coming up to you and taking photos and asking for this, that, and the third. They are people first. They are humans. They are people. Think about 1997, Princess Diana. What happened? Paparazzi running her off the road, killing her driver, and the person that she was with. You got to think about these celebrities. You're putting their safety at danger. I'm just taking it kind of one step forward, not just getting a photo. Sometimes people they're so starstruck. They're so excited that they startle the celebrity and they put both of just multiple lives in danger.
I don't think that guy would have deleted the video.
Not at all.
No, and they can get a lot of money for those videos these days.
And that's not the first time he's filmed him either. He filmed him at a drive-through one time too, and there was no real confrontation. But when it comes to celebrities, I think of a couple of things. I think if they're eating, leave them alone. If there are children involved, certainly leave them alone. And then be nice. I mean, we see celebrities around Midtown all the time. I mean, I saw Jason Statham one time, and I was just like, Mr. Statham, and he turned around and he was very cordial about it. And that's it. You got to know how to approach them. I think seeing what this guy has done before and then the way his act, I think he's kind of a wee bit of a he seeks out the celebrities. Yeah, my opinion.
I disagree a little bit, only because it's in the public. That's the thing. In public, he's in Target. He's offset. People are going to gawk. They're going to take pictures. They're going to point. You all have experienced that same thing. You can't prevent that. And if it was a bad day or whatever the case may be, maybe he should not have been there, knowing that who he is going to get attention wherever he goes. You're in the public eye, and I think as a celebrity, you need to embrace celebrityism, and that all comes with it. You're not gonna. If it's not who you are, then you don't need to be in the spotlight.
Then go out with a paper bag, maybe.
Or don't go out at all. I mean, Michael Jordan couldn't go out. Michael Jackson couldn't go out. They had to send people out to do things for them because they couldn't, or shut the whole place down and you go out by yourself. It's a lonely life, but it's the one you chose. Chose.
How do you deal with it, Joseph?
How do I deal with it? I go out. I'm one with the people. I can tell you that right now.
One with the people. We want you to chime in, folks. And we've actually shared this article on 11alive.com. Keep weighing in. Use the hashtag Morning Rush ATL. Just think about it. If you were a celebrity, how would you go out to Target? If you were Chesley McNeil, what would you do to fight off your fans?
He doesn't shop at Target.
I'd like to know what Offset had to pick up at Target. What is Offset?
You're so right. All right, let's get into it.
So basically, after watching this example, everyone should ask themselves, is this ethical? Is this an invasion of privacy? Or is this like the path that these people have chosen? Do they deserve the same level of privacy as regular people or not? What do you guys think?
I mean, I agree with what the one guy said about the last guy that spoke. I mean, it's a profession that they chose. So it's that, I want to be famous. I want to make a lot of money and, be in the public. But at the same time, I feel like it really depends on maybe your age of it. I know with Justin Bieber, Miley Cyrus, especially Demi Lovato, they started in public eye at a very young age. And as we kind of got to grow up with them in a way. But we saw how the media played a really good role in promoting them, but also it destroyed them in a lot of ways. There were so many articles about Demi Lovato, Miley Cyrus, even Justin Bieber, bad articles about them. So the same people that are helping them are also there to kind of nitpick them and destroy them. But at the same time, they need each other. Justin Bieber realizes that he needs his fans, so he's not gonna stop living his life because people are gonna approach him. That's part of it. That's almost one of the perks of being famous is if you're going out and people are noticing you, you're doing your job right. If you're going out and they're not, then you're going to want to work on your PR and getting people, because you want to be recognized. It's part of fame. That's how you're going to make your money.
And I totally agree with that. And I feel like these people are entertainers. Even Kobe Bryant, he essentially is an entertainer for everyone. And with that comes a lot of news, and we don't really know if these news outlets are putting out these headlines just to make money because it has the name Kobe Bryant in it, or it has the name Miley Cyrus in it, or is it a genuine mistake when they do these things? I mean, I think it's just for money, but we don't really know if these are genuine mistakes or not.
Yeah, I think with the whole celebrity losing their right to privacy, I think it's kind of a double-edged sword, because it's like if you're going out in public and you know that you have like a certain amount of fan base, you should realize that people are going to come up to you. I think that normal people need to realize though too, like they're just people too, and you shouldn't be like jumping on them or like, you know, attacking them. Like, yeah, you can go up to them and be like, hey, can I get a picture, like autograph, so nice to meet you, like be more cordial. But then it's also like, if you don't want to be seen in public as a celebrity, like they were saying, wear a bag over your head, have someone do it for you, go when it's like really late at night when there's like no kids out, if you're like a kid celebrity or something like that. So it's kind of difficult because once you're like reach that celebrity status, it's kind of like you're signing your life away. Like there's really nothing you can do about it, unfortunately.
Like this is just like a side thing, but Kylie Jenner was saying how she was giving her tips for what to do during quarantine because she hid her whole pregnancy from everyone, but she said she couldn't even go outside because there were helicopters above her house that like wanted to get to see what she was doing so they could put stuff out there. And I think it's crazy. But she still was able to keep that private. I feel like there are probably ways out there for people to keep some things private, but it's definitely harder for them than it would be for us.
Right.
Well, I feel like the Kardashians too are kind of like a different breed of people just because when they go out places, like they want to be noticed. So like I've heard some of my friends who live in California, like when the Kardashians, even when they were first starting out, would go out, they would go out in these big SUVs, like lots of people with them. So whenever they were somewhere, you knew that they were there. And like they went out of their way to make their presence known. Whereas I feel like some celebrities, like they do what they can, like hide themselves. Like obviously when she was pregnant and stuff, like she was able to get like in and out. I think she posted about like, but she was able to do that and be private about it. So there are precautions they can take.
And in this case with Offset, like when it goes back to the power of the media, like this video has gone out there of him being a jerk to one of his fans recording him, like because it's on this media platform, everyone's like, wow, that guy is such a jerk. But like some of the news reporters said, like you don't really know what's going on in that person's life. But now it's on the news and it's on social media, so everybody knows about it and everyone is forming a negative, some sort of opinion.
But if you think about it too, like we've talked about, like, sorry, this is me, like my last like 2 cents that I have for this subject. Like with that case, we've talked about good press and bad press. And sometimes it's better to have even something like a video like that out, like at least people are still talking about you. And with like Offset's case, like if people think he's going to be violent, like that's going to contribute, like more people are going to want to go out and see him because they're going to want to see what kind of reaction they're going to get from him. Like it's not necessarily just going to be like, like we're going to take photos. Like no, like you're going to run into Offset and everybody wants to have a story about their celebrity interaction. And if a celebrity like him is going to do like lash out at somebody, that's only going to create, in my opinion, more people wanting to go out and interact with him just to see if they can get a reaction like that one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree.
All right, so that is our presentation. We're excited here.
Thanks for listening, everyone.
I can't wait to hear what you guys think.
They say
our blog.
Sorry. What?
Our blog post will be up with a few questions, and you guys can go in and answer those and let us know what you think about what news stories stand out to you. Can we regulate these things? And you can reply to your classmates and see what they think about all of this as well.
Okay, I'm going to stop the recording.
Okay, I was like,